What do you think is a glass ceiling we still need to shatter when it comes to gender equality?
Faith.
Daisy Ridley, how are you?
I'm tired. I was partying last night, celebrating this film. But I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Was it a big night out? Or was it just like a low-key night out?
It was like but like It was certainly, it was at the Chiltern Firehouse, so I felt very fancy. But everyone else continued to drink and I didn't. So I can like dance and have a great time without being inebriated. But then I had to deal with everybody else. And at that point, I thought it's home time.
You are a wise owl.
Well, my sister came back with me and I mean, it was so funny and so sweet because she hadn't seen the film before. So she was really, but she was doing it in that drunk way that's so sweet. And she was going, days, dead serious. That film, and it was so sweet. But I was also like, this is hilarious because then she woke up today because she stayed in the hotel with me. It was like, where's my jewelry? Oh, dear.
A classic evening. I mean, she's not wrong because Young Woman and the Sea, I'm just going to say it, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is one of my favourite movies of the year, if not already one of my favourite movies of all time. I know that's a bold statement, but it's everything that I love in the movie. It's women proving toxic men wrong, sticking two fingers up at the bullshit patriarchal system, and it follows one of the most extraordinary forgotten heroes of history, really, Trudy Ederle, who in the 1920s was the first woman ever to swim the English Channel. It is beyond empowering. How much do you think this role empowered you?
We were sort of shooting-ish in chronological order. And as I was playing her, more and more I thought, bloody hell. You know, playing someone who has incredible determination and resilience and a dream that refuses to be killed, really, is imagining what that might have been like. But then as we were going, the constant obstacles she's overcoming, the small things and the big things, people, you know, not wanting women to swim, but then actually being faced with someone who is physically going to sabotage her when she's trying the first time to swim the channel. There was so much to overcome that as I was filming more and more, I thought, this woman is unbelievable. And then, of course, we are talking now in a time that women's rights have come on many strides. So even thinking this was 100 years ago, it's really beyond imagining how difficult it really was.
And I mean, you're no stranger to high octane movies and a very intense challenge. But this was another level of physical challenge, wasn't it? Because you had to literally swim in open water for hours and days at a time. How much of a challenge was this for you and the training and the physicality of it?
It's funny because people have asked me why I did it when I don't like open water and I couldn't really do the front crawl. But, you know, you read a script like this and you think, I want to be in it, so that I will figure that out when I come to it. I basically had to fully learn to do, I couldn't do 20 meters of a front crawl. I'd never really been taught how to do an actual crawl, the mechanics of how you do front crawl. So I was learning the full mechanics of that and matching Trudy's stroke, and she had quite a bent arm. And then I was learning endurance and stamina as we went. And then for the races, there was such a speed to be kept up. And Trudy swam quickly anyway, so it was pacey and endurance. So all of that physically was tough. And then as we were filming, we were doing the swimming scenes in the order. So my swimming was getting better anyway. But by the time it came to the 9 days in the Black Sea, we had been shooting for 2.5 months and I was tired physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
So then the physical, and I basically had to approach it like one stroke, one bite. I just had to take it one step at a time because I think otherwise it really would have been too overwhelming. And emotionally, the thing of getting into open water, which I don't like, and having to match the boat and having to keep pace with the camera and then having to act with the people on the boat and I'm cold, but I'm also playing someone who loved it. There was a lot to overcome.
What do you think it really taught you about your capabilities in your physical and mental strength, do you think?
If I'm in the right situation and with the right people, and I think there's nothing left in the tank, you can find something else. There's always something else to draw upon. It's funny, I just did a film in Australia, and there was a scene that was highly emotional, not physical, but highly emotional. And I literally said to the director, I don't know what's left. And he was like, when you're given the space and the time and the trust to just take a second to gather yourself, I have found with me that there's always, and I think with all of us, there is always something else you can do. So that's really what I learned about myself, and that I can overcome fear and I can really push discomfort to one side in order to do something. And also that the struggle is often worth it in the grand scheme of things. Certainly in a visual way, what I had to do was tricky, but looking at it, it's so majestic and you can feel that it's the real open water. And I feel like we're honouring Trudy in that way by even showing a tiny piece of what she really did.
And it goes to show, like you're saying, that you can really achieve anything if you have the right allies around you, doesn't it?
I'm very, very lucky to have a wonderful supportive family around me. I know not everybody has that, but certainly if you can find your team, find your tribe, find people that don't make you feel silly for dreaming of something, find people that make you think, do you know what, maybe it is possible. What you're suggesting seems bonkers to me, but I will try and do whatever I can to facilitate you on that journey. Finding that, whether you have it already or whether you have to go out and search for it, is just the most important thing. And we're all on our own little journeys in our lives. But when you get to be with people and celebrate the achievements and also commiserate the losses and all of the trials and tribulations that we all face in the day-to-day, having people that you really rely on is key.
It's so important. And it's such an amazing moment when you find your team, you find your tribe. And one of the things that I love about this movie is it's all about defying expectations. And so many of us have to battle the expectations of others and the expectations we put on ourselves too. When do you think you've really defied the expectations of others? Or has someone ever tried to put you into a box and you've been like broken out of it?
It seems ridiculous to say, because other people are really defying serious odds and serious expectations. But I feel sometimes that I'm perhaps not taken as seriously as I'd like, strangely. And I feel like I have to, not by the people it's hard to describe, but there's sometimes that I feel like, see me how I want to be seen. And I think honestly, a lot of people feel like, when you have history with someone or whatever it is, and you fall into those patterns of who you are and who you were, change is really difficult and really uncomfortable, and boundaries are really difficult and really uncomfortable. So it's not huge things, and certainly people are doing amazing things every day to defy many, many, many heavier burdens. But certainly the discomfort of trying to be seen in a different way than you might have been seen before, because we all change all the time. And it's not a bad thing to change and grow and shift.
I think a lot of people have to deal with that, because they also have to not only prove their own self-doubt wrong, but proving others too. Is there a moment where you've really proved your own self-doubt wrong?
Yeah. Or there's certainly times where I feel like I have to present in a way that I don't feel in order to conquer my own feelings. In a professional way, I made a film with my husband. It was my idea. He wrote it. I produced it. I star in it. And it was really from the beginning to the end. A beautiful movie, Magpie. And I believed in it so much. But of course, there are moments where you think, you have to convince other people to believe in it. You have to convince other people to give you the financing. You have to convince other people to come on as the crew and the cast. You have to convince people that you're going to take care of them. for a time that they're on set, you want people to feel validated and appreciated, and you're employing people, you're taking people away from, filming is such intense hours. So there were moments where I had, what if people don't feel the way that I do about it? But ultimately that's okay, because it's my thing and everyone's going to feel different about it. But I certainly felt that until we had finished it, which we now have, and we've sold it, and I'm so thrilled and I can't wait for people to see it. There were moments where you think, and am I biased? Am I, when people are like, well, my kid's amazing because they're my child, like, how does everyone else see that thing? Certainly a film is a child, but having to really back mine and my husband's vision and really back what we thought would be possible in those circumstances, and back the film that we really wanted to make. That was an amazing challenge. But then again, having someone to rely on and have those conversations with, separate to everything. So no one else knew I was feeling like that, but we had those discussions. And I learned a phrase years ago, which was, you take your solutions to the workplace and your problems to your friends. So I would go home and have all of the panic of, oh my God, and then leading the film and thinking, oh my God, are people going to think this is ridiculous? We should have given the part to someone else. And then going to work and doing the job.
In this movie, in Young Women in the Sea, there are so many gender double standards that happen. And when I was watching the movie, I thought so much of this stuff is actually still happening in our society in so many ways. What do you think is a glass ceiling we still need to shatter when it comes to gender equality?
Okay. I think the interesting thing was we're making this film 100 years after Trudy did this amazing thing. And in some ways we are very far away from it, but we're certainly not as far as we should be. And in the last couple of years, there have been a lot of conversations, much more amplified, about how women's sport is drawing as many viewers and how that pay should be distributed evenly. And then between gender and then certainly women of color, it's even harder. So there is so much still to be done in sports, but across the board. So people really act like equity. And then there are amazing people striving for those changes. But certainly that is a huge one.
Yeah, 100% pay. And that's something that needs to be tackled across every single industry, full stop. And that's what's so amazing about sport in so many ways. Like, we've done Women in Sports series on this podcast before, where we talk about how sport can be such a huge platform for equality and for change. But the conversations I have with everyone across every single industry is that, unfortunately, sexism still exists on everyday levels every single day. What kind of everyday sexism do you still come up against that really grinds your gears every time it happens?
I mean, the thing that springs to mind is I did a job, and I was doing something physical in the same way that the male character was doing something physical. And one of the stunt team was coming over to pat the man on the back. And it got to a point where I said, are you not going to do that, like high fives and all this stuff? And I was like, hello. And he was really thrown by it. And I think it was really difficult for him because it was not badly intended. It was just they were doing the male thing that they're comfortable doing. And that didn't include me, though I was doing exactly the same thing as the man that he was congratulating. And then, of course, it's deeply uncomfortable because when you do speak up, then the person speaking up feels really uncomfortable. And then sometimes you think, oh my God, it's so, having this conversation is, and, it's just behavior that's learnt. And I don't think it's badly intended. It was just one of those things that I really, really noticed it because it happened again and again and again and again. And then I said it to the person, and I think being able to apologize is really important. So if you do speak up for something, it takes a lot of bravery for someone to say, I'm really sorry. I actually did not realize I was doing that. Of course, I see you both in the same way. And the person couldn't do that. But, maybe on the next job he does, which would be great. So I think, and small acts of courage do something. And I try to keep my side of the street clean, and I try to advocate for what I can for the next person that's going to be in that situation. And I think that's oftentimes what we can all do, is the small things that really make a huge difference.
And those small things can chip away. Like, if you even think everyone listening to this, if they made one change, if they spoke up and used their voice in one situation, that change will chip away at so many different things. And it has a ripple effect, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it's really scary a lot of the time, and people are facing all sorts of different obstacles. So some of the things I'm sure must feel insurmountable. And of course, there's, times where it certainly does not feel safe, I guess, to do that. But if there is enough safety to do that, it is wonderful. The small thing that you might help change for the next person it happens to.
You're shortly going to be back in Star Wars, no less. How strange is that, to go back to something that you kind of mourned, let go of, and then come back to it in another stage in your life? That must be strange.
It is, yeah. It was interesting because it did feel like mourning. Certainly, I spent more time on those sets than I did with my own family. It's such the time commitment. I love the people I worked with. I love those experiences. So saying goodbye to it when I really thought it was over was something, and then coming back in is so exciting. But it feels like such a new challenge. I know the world, and I've played Rey, but it's been years since I played her. So coming back into that and finding what's gone on in the interim, and how she is in the world now, and what that world looks like, and different creatives, and it's so exciting. It's really hard to understand how it's really going to feel, but it's really exciting.
Well, Daisy, you can literally do anything, and this movie absolutely proves it. But before you go off to get your lightsaber back out, we always end on one final question. And that is, in the reign of your life, what is the one rule you'll always live by?
Celebrate the small things. A lot of emphasis is put on the big achievements. But you're tired and you go to the gym? Great. You can't be asked to cook, but you do? Great. I'm really a celebrator of all of the things. Celebrate yourself, celebrate each other.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling a bit crap, let yourself feel that, and then get back to celebrating when you're feeling better again.
I love that, because whenever I'm tired and I don't get a takeaway and I cook for myself, I think I deserve an MBE. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you think, I didn't know I had this in me.
I didn't know I could chop tonight.
I didn't know I could fry some tofu in some ready-made sauce and cook myself a whole meal.
Call me Nigella. Hold the cookbook deal. We're coming.
I didn't know I could turn on the microwave